Hello, hello. Good morning. Welcome, Laura and Michigan, Stefan, Casey underscore. So they said they were running a few minutes late. They should be running. They should be setting it up shortly. They said about it was they're running about 10 minutes, 10 minutes late. About maybe about 5 minutes ago. So once they're ready, they'll go ahead and start the stream. So I guess we're pretty much here stuck at their mercy. So thank you for your patience and hopefully they begin shortly. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of some stuff and then I'll be back. I'll be back in a minute. BRB.
About 3 minutes or so before you start. You can have a seat. Good morning, Mr. Sierra.
Morning.
We're gonna get started in about 3 minutes.
All right. That's nice.
And I also have an interpreter here for you as well.
That'll be much better. I try out like I know English, but my English is not nice. Yeah.
Morning, Liza Rivera. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that you shall faithfully discharge, according to law, your duties as an interpreter to your best abilities, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury? I do. It was for the interpreter. No, not you.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Saunders. I'm a hearing examiner for the Board of Pardons and Paroles. This is a revocation hearing concerning Omar Sierra 313784. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. This hearing is being conducted via video at the Board of Pardons and Parole Central Office in Osborn Correctional Institution. Please state your full name and DOC inmate number for the record.
Buenos días, soy la oficial Saunders, examinadora de audiencias para la Junta de Indultos y Libertad Condicional. Esta es una audiencia de revocación referente a Omar Sierra, número 313-784. Hoy es martes 21 de enero del 2025. Esta audiencia se está llevando a cabo a través de video en la Junta de Indultos y Libertad Condicional, localidad central y el centro institucional de Osborn. Señor, favor, diga su nombre y número de confinado para el registro.
Omar Sierra Belende, 31-37-84.
This is a public hearing. Public access to this hearing is available via video live stream. This is a revocation hearing to determine whether you have violated the conditions of your release. I will review and make findings of fact at each of the charges against you.
Esta es una audiencia pública. Acceso público a esta audiencia está disponible vía transmisión en vivo. Esta es una audiencia de revocación para determinar si ha violado las condiciones de su liberación. Revisaré y haré hallazgos de hecho en cada uno de los cargos en su contra.
The state, not you, has the responsibility to prove the allegations by a preponderance of evidence. That is, the better or weightier evidence must establish that more probable than not the allegation is true. If I do not find that there is a preponderance of evidence to support a violation of one or more of the conditions of your parole, I will reinstate your parole, which means releasing you and placing you back on parole supervision. If I find that you have violated one or more of the conditions of your parole, I will consider whether or not your parole should be revoked. If I recommend revocation, I will make a recommendation as to an appropriate sanction. My recommendation will be given to a panel for a final decision. If the panel wishes to impose a sanction beyond my recommendation, a supplemental hearing will be provided to justify additional confinement.
El Estado, no usted, tiene la responsabilidad de probar las acusaciones mediante una preponderancia de evidencia, es decir, la mejor evidencia o más pesada debe establecer que, más probable que no, la alegación es cierta. Si no encuentro que haya una preponderancia de evidencia que respalde una violación de una o más de las condiciones de su libertad condicional, restableceré su libertad condicional, lo que significa liberarlo y ponerlo bajo supervisión nuevamente. Si encuentro que ha violado una o más de las condiciones de su libertad condicional, consideraré si su libertad condicional debe ser revocada o no. Si recomiendo la revocación, haré una recomendación en cuanto a una sanción apropiada. Mi recomendación se dará a un panel para una decisión final. Si el panel desea imponer una sanción más allá de mi recomendación, se proporcionará una audiencia suplementaria para justificar un confinamiento adicional.
The testimony at today's hearing will be taken under oath. Mr. Sierra, please raise your right hand.
El testimonio del día de hoy va a ser tomado bajo juramento. Mr. Sierra, favor levantar su mano derecha.
Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, upon penalty of perjury?
Usted jura solemnemente y sinceramente afirma, según sea el caso, que la evidencia provista en relación a este caso será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad, que así lo ayude Dios o bajo penalidad de perjurio.
Sí.
Thank you.
Puede bajar su mano.
First, I will read you your rights. Then we will review the parole violation charges that the state your parole officers bring against you. Then I will review and identify exhibits filed for the record. You will have an opportunity to present all relevant testimony. After considering all the evidence presented, I will announce my findings. If I find that you have violated one or more of the conditions of your parole, you will have an opportunity to speak to your background and history. Do you have any questions about the purpose or procedure before we begin?
Primero voy a leer sus derechos, luego revisaré los cargos de la violación de libertad condicional que el Estado o su oficial de supervisión ha presentado en su contra. Luego revisaré e identificaré la evidencia presentada para el registro. Luego usted tendrá la oportunidad de presentar testimonio relevante. Luego de considerar la evidencia presentada, anunciaré mis hallazgos. Si encuentro que usted ha violado una o más de las condiciones de su libertad condicional, usted tendrá la oportunidad de hablar acerca de su historial. ¿Tiene alguna pregunta antes de comenzar?
No, quisiera escucharla a ella, para interrumpirla.
Discúlpeme.
Quisiera escuchar lo que ella tiene que decir para no interrumpirla. Estoy bien, tranquilo.
Yes, I am fine. I would just like to hear what she has to say, and I do not want to interrupt her.
So you don't have any questions thus far?
¿No tiene ninguna pregunta hasta el momento?
Bueno, para yo explicarle lo que el mistake que yo hice es más o menos, ¿no?
About the procedure of the hearing. You don't have any questions about the procedure?
Acerca del procedimiento, si tiene alguna pregunta hasta el momento.
Honestamente, no entiendo bien el proceso, pero no tengo ninguna. Yo sé que pues, cometí un mistake y estoy pagando por él.
Honestly, I do not understand the process really well. I do know that I made a mistake, and that's why I am here for.
So what I'm about to do now, I'm going to read you your rights.
Lo que voy a hacer ahora, voy a leerle sus derechos.
And then after I read you your rights, we're going to go over the parole violation charges.
Luego de leerle sus derechos, entonces vamos a hablar acerca de los cargos de la violación de libertad condicional.
And then after I
Okay.
read the charges, you're going to have an opportunity to speak on your behalf.
Luego de que yo lea los cargos, usted va a tener una oportunidad de hablar.
Está bien.
Okay, so any questions about that procedure? Because we're about to start now. I just wanted to make sure you understood what we're about to do.
Vamos a empezar ahora. Quería estar seguro que usted entienda qué es lo que vamos a hacer o cómo se va a llevar a cabo la audiencia.
Sí, entiendo, sí entiendo.
I understand.
So you do have important rights at this hearing, which I now will review with you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney at this hearing. If you cannot afford an attorney, you may qualify for an appointed attorney to represent you. Do you intend to seek counsel for this hearing, or would you like to proceed without counsel?
Usted tiene derecho en esta audiencia a ser representado por un abogado. Si usted no puede pagar un abogado, usted puede calificar para un abogado designado que lo represente. ¿Tiene intención de buscar un abogado en esta audiencia o desea proceder sin un abogado?
Sí, un abogado.
Without an attorney.
Okay, without. You have the right to receive written notice of charges of violation. You have the right to review the evidence against you before this hearing. You have a right to submit evidence in support of your case. At this hearing, you have the right to call and examine voluntary witnesses and to cross-examine adverse witnesses. Do you understand these rights?
Usted tiene derecho a recibir una notificación por escrito de los cargos de la violación. Usted tiene el derecho de revisar la evidencia en su contra antes de esta audiencia. Usted tiene derecho a presentar pruebas en apoyo a su caso. En esta audiencia, usted tiene el derecho de llamar a interrogar a testigos voluntarios y de interrogar a testigos adversos. ¿Entiende usted estos derechos?
Sí, entiendo.
Yes, I understand.
We now will review the charges that the state your parole officers bringing against you and the information underlying each charge.
Ahora estaremos revisando los cargos que el oficial de supervisión ha presentado en su contra y la información referente a cada cargo.
Charge 1, reporting. On September 9th, 2024, you met with this parole officer and you were given your next reporting date of October 2nd, 2024. On October 2nd, 2024, you failed to report to your parole as directed. This is a violation of your parole agreement number 1, release direction. Charge 2, residence. On September 27th, 2024, and further confirmed on October 2nd, 2024, it was determined that you are not residing at your parole-approved residence. This is a violation of your parole agreement as you have not received authorization to reside anywhere else. Charge 3, absconder. On October 2nd, 2024, you were scheduled to meet with your parole officer. On that date, you failed to report. On October 3rd, 2024, a home visit was conducted at your approved Reach residence, and you were not present. You failed to return. All attempts to contact you, all attempts to locate you have yielded negative results, and your whereabouts remain unknown to parole. As a result, you were unsuccessfully discharged from Reach and are now in violation of your parole agreement.
En el cargo número 1, reportarse. El 9 de septiembre del 2024, usted se reunió con su oficial de libertad condicional y se le informó de su próxima fecha para reportarse del 2 de octubre del 2024. El 2 de octubre del 2024, usted falló a reportarse a libertad condicional según indicado. Esto es una violación de su acuerdo de libertad condicional número 1, dirección de salida. En el cargo número 2, residencia, en septiembre 27 del 2024 y más adelante confirmado el 2 de octubre del 2024, fue determinado que usted no está residiendo en su única residencia aprobada por libertad condicional. Esta es una violación de su acuerdo de libertad condicional número 1, ya que usted no ha recibido autorización de residir en otro lugar. En el cargo número 3, fuga, el 2 de octubre del 2024, usted está programado a reunirse con su oficial de libertad condicional. En esta fecha, usted falló a reportarse. El 3 de octubre del 2024, una visita domiciliaria fue llevada a cabo en su residencia aprobada de Reach y usted no estaba presente. Usted ha fallado a devolver todos los intentos de contactarlo Todos los intentos de localizarlo han dado resultados negativos y su paradero sigue siendo desconocido para libertad condicional. Como resultado, usted fue dado de alta insatisfactoriamente de Rich y está en violación de su acuerdo de libertad condicional.
The state has filed the following exhibits. Exhibit A, notice of parole violation. Exhibit B, notice of parolee rights. Exhibit C, parole violation report. Exhibit D, Connecticut remand to custody order. Exhibit E, signed special parole conditions. And Exhibit F, Reach program discharge summary.
El Estado ha provisto la siguiente evidencia para fines de identificación. Exhibición A, aviso de violación a libertad condicional. Exhibición B, aviso de derechos de la persona en libertad condicional. Exhibición C, reporte de violación a libertad condicional. Exhibición D, orden de regreso a custodia de Connecticut. Exhibición E, condiciones de libertad condicional especial firmadas. Exhibición F, resumen de alta del programa REACH.
Mr. Sear, did you receive an evidence packet? It should have outlined all the evidence, the documents we just named. You should have received that.
Mr. Sierra, ¿usted recibió el paquete con todos los documentos que informamos?
Sí,
And did you have time to review it?
¿Tuvo tiempo para revisarlo?
sí.
Today we have no witnesses,
No tenemos testigos en el día de hoy.
and it is now your opportunity to respond to the parole violation charges against you. However, remember that you may remain silent if you choose to do so. Do you wish to testify today?
Esta es la oportunidad de hacer de hablar si usted desea hacerlo. También usted puede permanecer en silencio de así desear.
No, yo quiero explicarle.
Yes, I want to explain.
Okay. It's now your opportunity.
Esta es su oportunidad para explicar.
Ok, cuando yo hice Parole en Walker en el 2022, yo le expliqué bien a la tabla que yo tenía problemas en Hartford por mi pasado. Esa fue la razón por la cual me pusieron en Bridgeport, en la Halfway House. Fui para la Halfway House, hice todo bien, trabajo, orina limpia, participé en todos los programas, no me metí en problemas. Pero me salí de la Halfway House, trabajé, mantení un trabajo, me dieron el REACH y ahí pues me enteré que una gente de Hartford sabía dónde yo estaba por hacer el mistake de perder un Facebook. Y ese problema me persiguió hasta Bridgeport. En vez de yo hablar con Parole.
Dame un momento para poder traducirla a ella, por favor.
Okay.
So back in 2022, when I was at Walker, I explained to the parole board that I had problems with some people in Hartford due to my past. That's the reason that I was placed in halfway house in Bridgeport. I was working, I was participating in the programs, and I was doing fine. I didn't have any issue. Then I was placed at Reach, and some people from Hartford ended up finding out where I was at. ¿Puede continuar? ¿Ellos se dieron cuenta dónde usted estaba?
Sí, por yo prenderle un Facebook y ponerle una foto.
Because I opened up a Facebook account and I posted a picture.
Pues entonces, pues yo no quería ir para atrás por esa vida. Ya ellos pueden ver mi récord. Yo decidí cambiar mi vida. Tomé unos grupos de mental health. Hice todos los grupos que ellos quisieran que hice. Y bueno, honestamente me crean uno, yo cogí miedo. Yo no quería salir para la calle, ser violento, atacar a nadie. Y en vez de hablar con ellos, pues decidí correr, como buscar salvarme, que no me vayan a disparar el apartamento o algo.
Okay.
Y yo sé que eso fue un mistake.
I really do not want to go back to the life that I was living before, and I really wanted to change my life. That was the reason that I was participating in programs and doing what I was supposed to do. Believe me or not, I was afraid. And instead of talking to Parole, I decided to run away. I was afraid that they were gonna shoot at my house or anything like that. Continue.
Yo no tengo apoyo de mi familia en Hartford por la cual la vida que yo vivía antes. Yo no me busqué problemas en las AFEA, yo mantenía un trabajo en Price Rice, estaba guardando mi dinero, hice programas de mental health, no le di nunca una dirty earn y estaba dispuesto a seguir trabajando y hacer las cosas bien, pero esto como que me sacó, me descontroló. Yo estaba viendo cosas que no había, porque en verdad yo no estaba 100% seguro si me estaban buscando, pero la gente en la calle habla mucho. Pues yo me asusté y en vez de hablar con Parole, pues decidí huir, pero estoy arrepentido de eso, porque yo tengo una mamá que está en un nursing home, tengo un hijo que es autista y tengo una buena mujer que quiere que yo salga para allá afuera a hacer las cosas bien.
I do not have any support from my family because of my past. And I was working in Price Rights. I was saving money. My urine was always clean. I was fine, but this got me out of control. I was afraid and I decided to run away instead of talking to them. And I regret it. I have a mother who is in a nursing home. I have a son. I have a good woman on my side.
Y tengo un hijo que es autista y me quiere mucho y eso me está doliendo mucho por yo haber tomado esta mala decisión.
My son is autistic and he needs me, and that hurts me a lot because he's suffering a lot because of the decision that I made.
Yo no tengo ningún problema que si por favor me pueden poner una halfway out. Yo quiero ahí, eso me ayudó mucho. Yo estaba tranquilo, trabajaba, no tenía problema con nadie. Ellos me seguían por la línea. Me hablaban, me aconsejaban, me empujaban para que siguiera haciendo las cosas bien. Y pues no tengo ningún problema si me quieren poner un GPS en mi tobillo tampoco, para yo seguir para adelante y que por favor me den una segunda oportunidad.
I didn't have any issues with anybody at the halfway house. I would like to be placed again in the halfway house. I was working, I was getting along with everybody. They were helping me, they were giving me advice. Even if you need to add a GPS bracelet, I will be willing to do that.
Thank you. Anything further?
¿Algo más, señor Sierra?
No, todo bien.
Thank you. I'm just going to take a moment before I announce my findings.
Voy a tomar un momento antes de anunciar mi hallazgo.
Regarding charge 1, reporting, I make a finding based on state's exhibits C and E. On charge 2, residence, I make a finding based on Mr. Sierra's testimony today, as well as state's exhibits C and E. On charge 3, absconder, I make a finding based on Mr. Sierra's testimony, as well as state's exhibits C and E.
En el cargo número 1, reporte, hago un hallazgo basado en la evidencia del Estado, C y E. En el cargo número 2, residencia, hago un hallazgo basado en el testimonio de Mr. Sierra en el día de hoy y la evidencia del Estado, C y E. En el cargo número 3, fuga, hago un hallazgo basado en el testimonio de Mr. Sierra en el día de hoy y la evidencia del Estado, C y E.
That concludes the fact-finding portion of this hearing. Before I make my recommendation, you will have an opportunity to now speak to your background and history. The purpose of this part of the hearing is to help me determine what outcome I recommend.
Esto concluye la porción de investigación de hechos de esta audiencia. Antes de hacer mis recomendaciones, usted tendrá la oportunidad de hablar acerca de sus antecedentes e historia. El propósito de esta parte de la audiencia de revocación es ayudar a determinar qué resultado recomendaré.
So, Mr. Sierra, this is the part where you tell me what is your release plan? What is your plan upon parole reinstatement?
Mr. Sierra, esta es su oportunidad para informarme cuál es su plan cuando salga nuevamente en libertad condicional.
Bueno, yo quiero trabajar, quiero sacarme licencia de conducir, no quiero estar en la calle más nada. Quiero darle la vida de mi hijo, de mi mamá que está en un nursing home. Se supone que no esté ahí porque ella está joven. Mis hermanos tomaron una decisión bueno, ahí dio a todo. Ella no tiene que estar en un nursing home, quiero estar pendiente de ella. Y quiero ser un hombre nuevo. No quiero estar nunca más en la cárcel. Ya yo tengo 40 años. No quiero volver aquí nunca más. Nunca más yo quiero volver.
I want to go back to work. I want to get my driver's license and not be in the streets anymore. I want to be in my son's life and my mother's life because she's in a nursing home and she shouldn't be there. She's young, but that was my brother's and sister's decision. I'm 40 years old and I do not want to keep living this life. I want to be a different man.
And you mentioned that you want to be placed in a halfway house. What area would you want to be placed in?
Usted mencionó que quiere que lo coloquen en un halfway house nuevamente. ¿En qué región o área usted desearía ser ubicado?
Me estuve informando a través de mi mujer que en New Haven hay una fábrica, una warehouse de espagueti y hay una también de escaleras, de ladders, y pagan mucho dinero y nos consideran a nosotros los que tenemos récord. Y quisiera ir para allá a trabajar, para guardar mi dinero y estar a la misma vez lejos de Hartford y hacer las cosas bien.
I just told me that he wants to go my partner told me that in the New Haven area there is a warehouse that they are willing to hire people with a breaker, and I want to go there to work.
So you would want to be placed in a New Haven halfway house, so you could inquire about this employment opportunity.
Esto significa que a usted le gustaría que lo colocaran en una media casa o un halfway house en el área de New Haven para poder entonces perseguir esta oportunidad de empleo.
Eso es lo que deseo porque me dieron que hay una warehouse que ellos llenan troces con paletas de espagueti y también llenan troces en otra warehouse con escaleras de aluminio. Y yo, pues, esas son las clases de trabajo que a mí me gustan, llenar troces. Y pues, quiero guardar mi dinero y sí, quiero estar lejos de Hartford, separado de Hartford, no quiero estar en Hartford.
Yes, because that's a warehouse that they load trucks with spaghetti and aluminum ladders. And those are things that I like doing. And I also want to be away from the Hartford area.
Okay. So you plan on working, whether at this warehouse or finding other employment, having a better relationship with your son as well as your mom, obtain your driver's license. Anything else you plan on doing?
Usted nos mencionó entonces que quiere verificar esta oportunidad de empleo en el warehouse, quiere tener una mejor relación con su mamá y con su hijo. ¿Algo más que desearía añadir?
Cuando salga del proceso de DOC, el pueblo que me queda, quisiera con un apartamentito con mi mujer y mi hijo. Y después que termine lo de DOC, tengo 3 años de Special Parole. Me gustaría transferirlo para Puerto Rico. Los 3 años.
With Parole, I would like to get my own apartment. And once I start my special parole, I would like to transfer my supervision to Puerto Rico. I have 3 years.
Mi hermano trabaja ahí en los troces de basura por casi 18 años y él me quiere ayudar a entrar al municipio para virar drones en Puerto Rico.
My brother works with the city picking up garbage, so he's willing to try to help me get a job doing that.
No problem. All right. Anything else?
¿Algo más?
Quiero dar las gracias por tomarse el tiempo de escucharme y para en Dios, pues, que la decisión que tomen, yo voy a estar de acuerdo, sea la que sea.
I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and I just leave it at to God, and I am okay with whatever decision you make.
I'm just going to take a moment before I announce my recommendations.
Voy a tomar un momento antes de anunciar mi recomendación.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Sierra, being that this is your first parole violation, and I see that you were supervised before absconding for about 6 months. You were being supervised in the community before you did abscond. You received no misconducts. We don't have any negative reports other than you absconding. I recommend revoke and reparole on February 24th, 2025, which is an approximate 3-month sanction with a halfway house placement stipulation.
Mr. Sierra, debido a que esta es su primera violación a libertad condicional, usted estuvo supervisado por un periodo aproximado de 6 meses en la comunidad antes de haberse ido de fuga. Usted no tuvo ningún problema de disciplina ni tuvo ningún reporte negativo de disciplina. Yo recomiendo que su libertad condicional sea revocada y que se restablezca nuevamente el 24 de febrero del 2025, lo que sería un confinamiento aproximado de 3 meses como sanción.
My findings and recommendations will be forwarded to the board. You will receive the official written decision from the board, and your board review is scheduled on January 30th, 2025. So on that date, the board is going to review your case. They can lessen the recommended sanction. They can let my recommended sanction stand, or they can exceed my recommendation, being that you are on parole until March of 2026.
Mis hallazgos y recomendaciones serán emitidas a la Junta. Usted recibirá la decisión oficial por escrito. Esta revisión de la Junta será programada para el 30 de enero del 2025. Este día la Junta puede disminuir su sanción, la sanción recomendada, dejar la sanción que recomendé o imponer una sanción más larga de lo que recomendé, ya que usted tiene libertad condicional, supervisión de libertad condicional hasta marzo del 2026.
Okay, so that does conclude your revocation hearing. Do you have any questions?
Esto concluye su audiencia de revocación. ¿Tiene alguna pregunta?
Quiero darle las gracias como quiera y por tomarse su tiempo y eso. Y pues espero en Dios que todo se mantenga como ella lo puso, ya que pues ella está viendo que yo estaba tratando de hacer las cosas bien. Y pues eso me sacó de la esquinita, pero yo me arrepiento de lo que hice y si me dan otra oportunidad yo la voy a aprovechar el 100%.
I just want to thank you for taking the time to be here, and I hope that they do accept your recommendation because I was doing good outside in the community.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sierra. You're all set.
Gracias, sería todo.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Yeah,
You can absolutely. Yes. All right. You're welcome. You could have like.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. We got it going, I think.
Yeah, we're
You hear
good.
it? All right, excellent. All right.
Good morning. My name is Officer Saunders. I'm a hearing examiner for the Board of Pardons and Paroles. This is a revocation hearing concerning Tyriq Martin, inmate number 434275. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. This hearing is being conducted via video at the Board of Pardons and Parole Central Office and Brooklyn Correctional Institution. Please state your full name and DOC inmate number for the record.
Tyriq Martin, 434275.
This is a public hearing. Public access to this hearing is available via video live stream. This is a revocation hearing to determine whether you have violated the conditions of your release. I will review and make findings of fact as to each of the charges against you. The state, not you, has the responsibility to prove the allegations by a preponderance of evidence. That is, the better or weightier evidence must establish that more probable than not, the allegation is true. If I do not find that there's a preponderance of evidence to support a violation of one or more of the conditions of your parole, I will reinstate your parole, which means releasing you and placing you back on parole supervision. If I find that you have violated one or more of the conditions of your parole, I will consider whether or not your parole should be revoked. If I recommend revocation, I will make a recommendation as to an appropriate sanction. My recommendation will be given to a panel for a final decision. If the panel wishes to impose a sanction beyond my recommendation, a supplemental hearing will be provided to justify additional confinement. The testimony in today's hearing will be taken under oath. Mr. Martin, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. First, I will read you your rights. Then we will review the parole violation charges that the state your parole officer is bringing against you. Then I will review and identify exhibits filed for the record. You will have an opportunity to present all relevant testimony. After considering all the evidence presented, I will announce my findings. If I find that you have violated one or more of the conditions of your parole, you will have an opportunity to speak to your background and history. Do you have any questions about the purpose or procedure before we begin?
No.
You have important rights at this hearing, which I now will review with you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney at this hearing. If you cannot afford an attorney, you may qualify for an appointed attorney to represent you. Do you intend to seek counsel for this hearing or proceed without counsel?
Without.
You have the right to receive written notice of charges of violation. You have the right to review the evidence against you before this hearing. You have the right to submit evidence in support of your case. At this hearing, you have the right to call and examine voluntary witnesses and to cross-examine adverse witnesses. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
We now will review the charges that the state your parole officer is bringing against you and the information underlying each charge. Charge 1, reporting. On August 29th, 2024, you failed to report to your scheduled home visit as instructed by your parole officer. On September 10th, 2024, you failed to report to the Norwich office as instructed by your parole officer. Charge 2, GPS. On July 23rd, 2024, you returned to your parole-approved residence at 9:08 p.m., 8 minutes past your 9 p.m. curfew without permission of your parole officer. On the following dates and times, you failed to properly charge your GPS unit, resulting in device shutdowns. July 24th from 8:41 p.m. to 9:19 p.m. August 6th, from 12:49 a.m. to 5:43 a.m. August 7th, from 2:20 a.m. to 4:35 a.m. August 9th, 2024, from 10:58 a.m. to 1:53 p.m. August 12th, 2024, from 12:51 p.m. to 7:52 p.m. August 14th until August 15th, 2024, from 3:45 p.m. to 9:56 a.m. August 21st, 2024, from 5:38 a.m. to 7:10 a.m. August 22nd, 2024, from 3:22 a.m. to 5:44 a.m. August 23rd, 2024, from 3:43 a.m. to 5:48 a.m. August 26th, 2024, from 11:33 p.m. to 11:34 p.m. August 28th, 2028, from 4:58 p.m. to 9:34 p.m. August 30th, 2024, until August 31, 2024, from 9:58 p.m. to 9:34 a.m. September 3rd, 2024, from 7:55 a.m. to 9:51 a.m. and 10:53 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. September 7th, 2024, from 7 p.m. to 7:20 p.m. and on September 8th, 2024, from 4:32 a.m. to 9:08 a.m. From September 8th, 2024 at 11:05 p.m. until your device was removed from your ankle by your parole officer at 9:43 a.m. on September 12th, 2024, you failed to ensure that your GPS unit maintained a signal, resulting in your whereabouts being unknown during this time frame. On October 10th, 2024, at 6:48 p.m., you cut the strap of your GPS bracelet and removed it from your ankle without permission from your parole officer. Charge 3, drugs. On or around October 3rd, 2024, you used cocaine. And charge 4, halfway house placement. On October 10th, 2024, at approximately 6:35 p.m., you were observed by Eddy Center halfway house staff carrying multiple bags in your hands. You stated to them, "I'm leaving this place." You voluntarily exited the halfway house via the front door. You proceeded to walk out the main road away from the halfway house, and you did not return. Attempts made to locate you were unsuccessful, and you made no attempts to contact the halfway house or parole. Your whereabouts in the community remain unknown until you were located in the city of New Haven on October 30th, 2024. The state's exhibits were marked and identified at the preliminary hearing held on November 19th, 2024. Now, Mr. Martin, at the preliminary hearing, you did indicate that you received the evidence packet. So I just want to make sure that is still true. You did receive the evidence packet. Okay. So today we have no witnesses. And it is now your opportunity to respond to the parole violation charges against you. However, remember that you may remain silent if you choose to do so. Do you wish to testify?
No.
Okay, I'm just going to take a moment before I announce my findings. Regarding charge 1 reporting, I make a finding based on state's exhibits B, D, J, and L. Charge 2 GPS, a no finding was made on the following dates: August 14th, 2024, September 3rd, 2024, and August 28th, 2028. And part 2, at the preliminary hearing held on November 19th, 2024, and is not being considered at today's revocation hearing. I make a finding on the rest of the parts listed in this charge based on state's exhibits B, D, F, G, I, K, and L. Charge 3, drugs. I make a finding based on state's exhibits B, D, and M. Charge 4, halfway house placement. I make a no finding was made on part 1 at the preliminary hearing held on November 19th, 2024, and is not being considered at today's revocation hearing. I make a finding on the rest of the parts listed in this charge based on state's exhibits B, D, E, and Q. That concludes the fact-finding portion of this hearing. Before I make my recommendation, you will have an opportunity to speak to your background and history. So, Mr. Martin, this is your opportunity to inform me of what is your release plan upon if your parole's reinstated?
March.
No, you have a release plan, or like where do you plan to reside?
I don't know.
You don't have halfway house. You have a sponsor.
No.
None of that.
No.
So if I were to reinstate your parole, where would you won't have no place in the state of Connecticut you would want, like an area of a halfway house you want to be placed in?
No.
No opportunities for work, none of the sort that's pending for you. You would have no employment opportunities.
Yeah, I got a job at Missoula's, but that's about it.
And where's that located?
Cheshire.
Okay, so would you want to be placed in a halfway house in that area to be easier to get to work?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you wish to say anything else regarding your release plan?
No.
I'm just going to take a moment before I announce my recommendation. I recommend revoke with no new reparole date, which is an approximate 4.5-month sanction. In the event that the board chooses to lessen the recommended sanction, I recommend the following conditions: no contact with co-defendants LaShawn Wells Miller, and a general no contact with R, C, J, S, and LD, and halfway house placement. So basically, my recommendation is for you to go to your end of sentence, which is in March. Do you know the exact date already?
I think the 18th or the 20th.
Yeah. I'll tell you the exact date. As of today, your estimated release date is March 25th, 2025. So that's my recommendation until you go to the end of sentence. And my findings and recommendation will be forwarded to the board. So you will receive the official written decision from the board, and your board review is scheduled on January 30th, 2025. So that's when they're going to look at your case, and they can lessen my recommended sanction, or they can let my recommended sanction stand. Okay, but you'll receive the written decision from them within a few days of January 30th.
Thank you.
All right, you're all set.
Hey, KC, thank you. Highly appreciate it. Let me see what else is in here. So, Laura, if you're still in here, welcome. Stephanie, KC _.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear us?
Hayden,
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Caitlin,
Good.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Vicar is the one we're waiting for.
How do you say your name?
Famiglietti. Yes, sir.
How
Good
you
job.
Good morning,
It's a lot
Mr.
harder than
Famiglietti.
Vasquez.
Yes, it is. Can't hear you.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Officer Saunders. I'm a hearing examiner for the Board of Pardons and Paroles.
Yes.
This is a revocation hearing concerning Luis Vasquez, 233-686. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. This hearing is being conducted via video of the Board of Pardons and Parole Central Office and Cheshire Correctional Institution. Please state your full name and DOC inmate number for the record.
Luis Vasquez, 233-686.
This is a public hearing. Public access to this hearing is available via video live stream. Present this morning is also your attorney. You're muted.
Good morning. Public Defender Robert Famiglietti of the Parole Revocation Unit.
This is a revocation hearing to determine whether you have violated the conditions of your release. I will review and make findings of fact to each of the charges against you. The state, not you, has the responsibility to prove the allegations by a preponderance of evidence. That is, the better or weightier evidence must establish that more probable than not, the allegation is true. If I do not find that there's a preponderance of evidence to support a violation of one or more of the conditions of your parole, I will reinstate your parole, which means releasing you and placing you back on parole supervision. If I find that you have violated one or more of the conditions of your parole, I will consider whether or not your parole should be revoked. If I recommend revocation, I will make a recommendation as to an appropriate sanction. My recommendation will be given to a panel for a final decision. If the panel wishes to impose a sanction beyond my recommendation, a supplemental hearing will be provided to justify additional confinement. The testimony of today's hearing will be taken under oath. Mr. Vasquez, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. First, I will read you your rights. Then we will review the parole violation charges that the state, your parole officer, is bringing against you. Then I will review and identify exhibits filed for the record. Your attorney will have an opportunity to present all relevant testimony and conduct cross-examination. After considering all the evidence presented, I will announce my findings. If I find that you have violated one or more of the conditions of your parole, your attorney will have an opportunity to speak to your background and history. Do you have any questions about the purpose or procedure before we begin?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. You have important rights at this hearing, which I now will review with you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. You have the right to receive written notice of charges of violation. You have the right to review the evidence against you before this hearing. You have a right to submit evidence in support of your case. At this hearing, you have the right to call and examine voluntary witnesses and to cross-examine adverse witnesses. Do you understand these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We now will review the charges the state, your parole officer, is bringing against you and the information underlying each charge. Charge 1, absconder. On September 17th, 2020, you left Roger Sherman, your only parole-approved residence, without permission or program completion. Your whereabouts are currently unknown. Based on your actions, you are in violation of your special parole standard condition release direction. Charge 2, obedience to the law. On May 10th, 2024, you were arrested by Hartford Police Department for violation of Connecticut General Statutes, use of motor vehicle vessel without permission, larceny of a motor vehicle, and larceny second. On May 13th, 2024, you appeared in Hartford Superior Court, GA 14, for arraignment under docket ending in 795. Probable cause was established on all charges and bonds at $50,000. Your next court date is scheduled for June 27, 2024. Based on your behaviors, you are in violation of your parole condition. Obey all laws. You will obey all laws. Charge 3, halfway house placement. On September 17th, 2020, you left Roger Sherman, your only approved parole residence, without permission or program completion. Your whereabouts are currently unknown. Based on your actions, you are in violation of your special parole additional condition, halfway house placement. The state has filed the following exhibits. Exhibit A, conditions of parole. Exhibit B, halfway house agreement. Exhibit C, the connection incident report. Exhibit D, the connection discharge summary report. Exhibit E, remand to actual custody order. Exhibit F, parole violation report. Exhibit G, notice of parole violation. Exhibit H, Hartford Police Department incident reports ending in 584. And Exhibit I, State of Connecticut Judicial Branch pending case detail with docket ending in 795. The state has filed an addendum to Exhibit F, which states on December 18th, 2024, Mr. Vasquez pled guilty to larceny of a motor vehicle first offense and was sentenced to 2 years jail, execution suspended, followed by 2 years probation. The charges of use of a motor vehicle without permission and larceny second were nollied under docket ending in 795. Counsel, did you receive the notice of parole violation report, and other documents I will mark for identification purposes?
Yes, we have.
Thank you. Defense has also filed Exhibit 1, parole accomplishments and future plans for parole reinstatement. Today we have no witnesses, and it is now the defense opportunity to present evidence and speak to any of the evidence submitted.
I have no comment as to the preponderance standard for charge 1 or charge 3. As to charge 2, there was an earlier addendum filed that had an incorrect sentence on it. It had 222, in other words, 2 years suspended after 2 years to serve 2 years probation. But I'm glad that somehow, some way that was corrected. So I just want to be clear that he received a fully suspended sentence. Other than that, I have no comment as to the charges.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to take a moment before I announce my findings. On charge 1, absconder, I make a finding based on state's exhibits A, C, D, F, and H. On charge 2, obedience to the law, I make a finding based on Mr. Vasquez's conviction, as well as state's exhibits A, F, H, and I. On charge 3, halfway house placement, I make a finding based on state's exhibits A, B, C, D, and F. That concludes the fact-finding portion of this hearing. Before I make my recommendation, your attorney will have an opportunity to speak to your background history. Counsel?
Yes, my client is 47 years of age. He's separated. He receives significant support from his mother and 2 of his daughters, aged 25 and 20. He's very due to have grandchildren soon. He's looking forward to that greatly. When my client absconded back in 2020, it was the height of COVID. He had 2 elderly parents. They both fell ill, and he cared for them for approximately 2 years. Unfortunately, his father contracted COVID and passed away in July of 2021. And that was his primary concern. He was concerned for his family. During the whole time he was away, he was employed full-time by Southern Connecticut Pallet, located in Wallingford. He worked there for 3.5 years. The only arrest he had was what I'm going to say, basically a hot potato situation. In other words, the car was allegedly stolen about a month or so prior to his being found with it. It's a rental car situation. He didn't steal the car. He was the last one found in possession of it. This is the type of thing that bounced around from person to person to person. Someone rented the car to him, gave him the keys. He had the keys. He was using the car, had every intention of bringing it back to who he thought was the rightful owner, which is why I believe he received a suspended sentence. He is going to be monitored for 2 years with 2 years suspended after his sentence ends in October. It is our wish, since he's been held for 8 months now, and the PO only recommended 4 months, that he be released as soon as possible. He's not a threat to the community. He's not a threat to anyone. This was a possessory crime. No drugs involved, no weapons, no violence, nothing whatsoever. He can go back to his job at Southern Connecticut Pallet. He also worked during that time at a property management company and had various jobs through Kaiser Whitney Staffing in New Haven through a temp agency. He's completed ILP, MAT, the App Foundation. He has referred to and participated in the Explore program. He suffers from depression and PTSD. He also had been working in Wallingford on Prince Street with Ms. Joanne, a private therapist. He wishes to be placed in a halfway house in New Haven. Once again, he served almost 8 months. His PO recommended 4 months. I don't think he's a threat to society whatsoever. I think this is a perfect situation where an individual has served his time and should be reintegrated back into society. I don't see any reason other than punitive to hold him to the end of his sentence. I don't believe the violation is so sufficiently serious enough to warrant further incarceration. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. I'm going to take a moment before I announce my make my recommendation.
Hello, welcome. So if you're trying to jump on YT, I actually have 2 streams. I got a Utah and then I got a Connecticut. The one from Utah still hasn't started up yet, so I'm not sure what the holdup is. Normally it starts at 7 a.m. The Connecticut one is working. That's the one we're currently looking at right now. Nelly, Dylan, Duck, welcome everybody to You Have a Collect Call From. How is everybody doing today? Where is everybody tuning in from? And this is a live hearing from Connecticut for anybody that's wondering. Caitlin, welcome. How's it going? Dallas, Texas is cold. I could imagine, Nelly. Jimmy, welcome. How's it going? Welcome to You Have a Collect Call From. And I'm gonna log in on my second account, which is another TikTok account I got. I got it as a backup just in case this account never goes down. So if you guys could follow this account when it pops up in the chat, I would highly appreciate it.
Okay, Mr. Vasquez, being that you were supervised in the community for about 3 months prior to absconding, Your whereabouts were unknown for about 3.5 years. I heard what Attorney Famiglietti said about the reasoning, but 3.5 years evading parole supervision is a significant amount of time to have been an absconder status. And this is your second violation on parole. With that said, I recommend revoke and reparole on March 10th, 2025, which is an approximate 10-month sanction with the following conditions: no consumption of alcohol, domestic violence, a general no contact with Lisi grocery store located at 120 Webster Street in Hartford, halfway house placement. My findings and recommendations will be forwarded to the board, and you will receive official written decision from the board, and your board review is scheduled on January 30th, 2025. So on January 30th, the board's gonna take a look at your case. They can lessen my recommended sanction, they can let my recommended sanction stand, or they can exceed my recommendation, being that you are on supervision until October 2025. Okay, so that is my recommendation, and January 30th is your board review.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And sir, what you should do is call me on January 31st. It's a Friday. It's the day after the board meets, and I'll tell you what the decision is, okay?
Okay, Mr. Famiglietti, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank the hearing examiner as well for
Thank you very
listening
much, Ms. Summers.
and having an open mind. Thank you very much. Good day,
Thank you.
sir. Call
Thank
me
you
if you have
very
any
much.
questions, okay? All right.
All right, Robert Famiglietti, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
So, Slime, to answer your question, if you go to my profile, just
Have a
go
good day,
to
hearing examiner Saunders.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello?
go to my profile, click on my link, and it'll bring up all the videos that have come out in the last few months.
What do I do, Martin? Thank you, Ms. Saunders. Have a great day.
You as well.
this-
Thank you.
From different states. Just look
Yeah.
up at collect call from, and you'll find all the videos that you could find. Endless supply. Hey, Drea, thank you for sharing.
You all set now? I gotta hang
Yes,
up?
I am. Yeah, you can hang up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The event will continue shortly. So this is live right now for anybody that's wondering. This is the state of Connecticut. What are we watching today? So today we're watching Board of Parole in Connecticut. I'm trying to get the another stream going for Utah, but it's not working right now. El Toro, let me see. Why are you ignoring me? I haven't seen any questions of yours. I'm not sure if you noticed. I was looking down. All right, Utah's starting up right now. All right.
P.O. Girard.
All right, so there goes my second account on the screen there. If you guys could go ahead and follow that one. It says second account. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers just in case anything ever goes wrong. Then I'll be able to have that account as a backup. Kirsten, hey, thank you. Welcome. Ruben, welcome. And let me get the chat on the screen over here since I'm ignoring it. Let me see where the hell is this thing at? Right here. Okay. Let me see. Okay, got that up on the screen. And let me refresh it. So where's everybody tuning in from today? If you guys don't mind sharing. Hey, thank you, the person with the butterflies. Your name's too fancy for me to read it. Steph82 is coming in from Connecticut. Hey, what's up, Snow? How's it going? We got Chris from Florida. We got Leanners from Utah. We got Nita from, I think, Texas. Let me look over here on this other screen here. So now you guys can see the chat. I can see the chat a little bit better now. As you guys can see on the screen right there, it's popping up right behind me. Damn. You guys are coming in from all over the place. Utah, Dallas, Connecticut, California, Texas. Corpus Christi, Texas, San Jose, OC, Anaheim, South Carolina, New Jersey, California, Ohio, Tennessee, Canada, Nuevo Mexico. Good morning, everyone. Yup. So right now we're just waiting for the stream to start. Pretty much I have no control over this. We're pretty much at the mercy of the parole board, and they'll start it whenever they get the next individual up and going. Oh no, you guys can see the mouse on the screen. That's no bueno. Let me hide it. What the what? Hold on. Why is the screen black? What happened? What state is it today? It's Connecticut. Washington State. So just give me a moment. I'm not sure why my screen is black over here on YouTube. So I'm gonna try to figure that out right now, really quick. There it is. No, how come it's not showing up there? That is weird. Oh, did I resize it? It's still on. Okay. All right, so we're pretty much just waiting right now. I'm trying to fix this YouTube issue over here. And there we go. I got it. Switch this over. All right, there we go. All right, so for anybody who's wondering, I also have a stream running on YT from Utah. That one is up and running right now. They are about to hear the first case for anybody that wants to jump on that one. But just a heads up, I won't be on that one because I'll be over here. I could only be on one stream at a time. Hey, what's up? Hey, what up, Tree Hugger? How's it going? Let me see. Alexis, are you doing a certain part of Washington State? I'm in Tacoma. I've never done anything in Washington. I haven't been able to find any streams that have no restrictions. The Board of Parole hearings, they're not open to the public. The court proceedings, I am not sure on, so maybe that's something I will look into. Let me see here. Let me make sure I didn't miss any comments here. How is everybody doing today? Should I know? I don't want to get out of bed. But I'm dedicated to waking up at least by 5:55 to get these stream going because they start at 6 a.m. And let me check out my YouTube chat if I could find it here. Okay, here it is. Hey Eva, how's it going? Gemini Gia, welcome from Florida. is this your full-time job? Hell no, I wish. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm doing this on the strength. I wish I was getting paid for it, but nah. I you know what, I'm fortunate enough to I have a job where I only have to work 2 to 3 days a week, and then I'm able to do other things with my free time like this. And I'm also lucky that my wife supports what I'm doing. If it wasn't for her, then obviously I wouldn't be doing this. Let me see. Hey, Carlos, thank you for liking the live. RSA, morning, what's new? Shh. We started doing some streams from Maricopa
morning.
County.
Good morning. He'll be down shortly.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is for Mundy, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. He'll be down shortly.
All right. You guys heard it. You guys heard it here first. So last night, for those of you that were watching the hearings that we were doing in Maricopa County, I was supposed to jump back on at 10. But we've been having this issue with one of our sinks. No, don't worry. I'm not asking for any money. That's not this type of story. But we've been having an issue with one of the sinks in the restroom. And my wife's been telling me to fix it for quite some time now. Hey, thank you, Frederick, for the follow. My life's peachy. Hey, how's it going? And so finally last night I got around to doing it, and so I had to replace a fitting on one of the pipes for the plumbing. So I went in and replaced it, and then when I turned on the water, I left it running for like about 5 seconds, and the sink started leaking. So I looked under the sink, and then it was all rusted. I was like, oh, okay. So not only did we have a leak on the pipe, we also had some rusting under the sink. So maybe about 8 or 9 months ago, we ended up having one of the sinks, everything replaced in one of the restrooms. And like that whole cabinet and the sink, I just had it out in the backyard. I never got around to tossing it. So then I was like, maybe I could use the old sink. Maybe it's the same size. So sure enough, I went to the back, and it was the exact same model. So I started replacing it. But then I ran into an issue where the faucet was all rusted. So when I was taking it apart, it fell apart. So we ended up ordering some new faucets to replace. So hopefully they'll be here in the next day or two, and I'm able to replace them. So there it is with that story. It wasn't a sob story where I'm trying to pull at your heartstrings, if you will. Let me see here. Laura in Michigan. Shout out to James' wife. She'll jump onto the chat from here, from time to time. She jumped on yesterday morning. I was supposed to take her out to breakfast in the morning, because we had talked about it the morning before. So I woke up early. I was trying to be proactive and start these Maricopa court hearings, early. So I was like, man, I'll probably get in like an hour before we go out to breakfast. And by the time I knew it, was already. Woke up at like 5. I started the stream at like 7, and by the time I looked at the clock, it was already like almost 10 already. I was like, damn! I just wasted my whole morning on the stream. So I go out to the kitchen, and I'm like, hey, are you ready to go? She was like, man, what are you talking about? 8 already? I'm like, oh, oops. And then she was like, I saw you were on. So you had quite a few people on there. So I didn't want to disturb you. I was like, man, I felt bad that I had told her we were gonna go out for breakfast, and I got stuck, on YouTube doing this. Let me see here. Hey, thank you, Alexis. Highly appreciate that right there. Let me see. Y'all don't order from FedEx right now. What's going on with FedEx? If you don't mind sharing. Let me see. It just keeps getting worse, huh, James? Plumbing is no fun. Oh man, tell me about it. And then I also got there's our dishwasher. It had a leak a few months back. Well, it's been maybe like 6 months or less, but we had a leak, so I went to check it out. And so I figured out where the leak was coming from. So I tried to remove the piping, and when I twisted it, it completely broke off. So that's another thing I got pending that I got on the back burner that I need to do. But man, I'm not a handyman type of person, but I will try it. It just takes me some time. I drag my feet, and my wife doesn't, she doesn't like it. So that's on my to-do list. Definitely. I got to get to it sometime today. Hey, thank you. It's Nina. Thank you for the follow. Highly appreciate it. And let me see here. Sweet wife, tree hugger. I got live court. You can stream from what? Really? Hey, if you can, send me the link to it, Mamacita. I highly appreciate it. Shoot it. Slide into my DM if you will. Let me see. Christy James' wife. Thank you. My dishwasher broke too. I divorced her. Yeah. Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Good morning. So if you're in the chat and you see me mentioning names that you don't see in the chat, it might be on the other stream. So I am doing a simultaneous stream. If that makes any sense to you. Watch YouTube to fix. No, I do. I'm always on it. Like I recently repaired my washing machine. My washing machine is breaking down every few months, so I'm always jumping on YouTube. It's either a sensor, a pipe, or something. Is the Judge Boyd on today? He should be. Boyd. No, you know what? I think he hasn't been on in a few weeks. I know people were asking. No, was it Boyd? No, Fletcher's the one that hasn't been on. Boyd normally he's on Monday through Friday, if I recall correctly. But yeah, I guess he's on. You know, I haven't done one of those streams in a few months. James on, okay. My dishwasher snowblowed the driveway yesterday. Thanks for sharing with us. Hey, you're welcome. The RC Ripper 27. All right, thank you guys for hanging in there. Like I said, I don't have no control over these hearings, how fast they get these people up. You know, they are in prison, so sometimes they refuse going to these hearings. They might be having an account. Hey, thank you, Mamacita. I'll go ahead and check that out shortly. I'm the only one with a dishwasher that works too. Probably.
21.
All right, I hear some movement. I hear some voices in the background, so hopefully it starts up shortly. What time is it right now? 7:29. Hey, Dalton Adam, thank you for sharing the live. Highly appreciate it. Snow, thank you for that glitter badge or gifter badge. Highly appreciate it. Dalton, once again, thank you for sharing. All right, cool. Finally. Man,
Morning, Mr. Mundy.
Good morning.
Theo Girard.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. I see that you're here. We're all here. We're going to get started in about a minute.
All right, Mr. Muggy.
Sounds good. Good morning, Mr. Mundy.
Oh,
Good
Mundy. I thought they said Mr. Muggy. I'm like, sheesh, snap. See, move to the top here. All right, we got that. Let me move that.
Good morning. My name is Parole Officer Saunders. I'm a hearing examiner for the Board of Pardons and Paroles. This is a preliminary hearing concerning Jonathan Mundy, 151986. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. This hearing is being conducted via video of the Board of Pardons and Parole Central Office in Waived Correctional Center. Please state your full name and DOC inmate number for the record.
Jonathan Mundy, 151986.
This is a public hearing. Public access to this hearing is available via video live stream. Present this morning is also your parole officer.
Man, he looks
Good
rough.
morning. This is Parole Officer Girard.
For 86? I'm from 81.
This is a preliminary hearing which has three purposes under Connecticut law. To determine if there is probable cause to believe you committed an act that violated the conditions of your parole. To determine if the act is sufficiently serious to warrant the revocation of your parole. And to determine if you should be held in prison pending further proceedings. The state, not you, has a responsibility to show that there is probable cause to believe you violated one or more of the conditions of your parole. If I do not find probable cause, I will reinstate your parole, which means releasing you and placing you back on parole supervision. If I find probable cause and determine that the act is sufficiently serious to warrant revocation, you may be held in prison pending further proceedings. You should know that a preliminary hearing is an adversarial proceeding. Anything that you say at this hearing can be used against you. This hearing is being recorded. The testimony of today's hearing will be taken under oath. Mr. Mundy and P.O. Girard, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. First, I will read you your rights. So you're good. You can put your hand down.
Okay.
First, I will read you your rights. Then we will review the parole violation charges that the state, your parole officer, is bringing against you. Then I will review and identify exhibits for the record. Both you and the state will have an opportunity to address the issue of probable cause and the severity of the allegations. At the conclusion of this hearing, I will inform you of my findings, which will be based on the available evidence. Do you have any questions about the purpose or procedure before we begin?
No.
You have important rights at this hearing, which I now will review with you. You have a right to be represented by an attorney. You may hire your own attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, you may qualify for an appointed attorney to represent you. Do you intend to seek counsel for this hearing, or would you like to proceed without counsel?
I would like to proceed without counsel.
You have the right to receive written notice of charges of violation. You have the right to review the evidence against you before this hearing. You have a right to submit evidence in support of your case. At this hearing, you have the right to call and examine voluntary witnesses and to cross-examine adverse witnesses. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
We now will review the charges that the state, your parole officers, bringing against you and the information underlying each charge. PL Girard, starting with charge 1, residence.
All right. Charge 1, residence. On January 4th, 2025, you walked out of Central Ave halfway house without authorization. You remained unaccountable in the community for 48 hours until you turned yourself in. You were given direction by your assigned PO to return to the Central Ave halfway house, and you did not. This is in violation of your statement of understanding and agreement conditions of parole.
Charge 2, halfway house placement.
Charge number 2, halfway house placement. On January 4th, 2025, you walked out of the Central Ave halfway house without authorization. You remained unaccountable in the community for 48 hours. During your communication with your assigned PO, you were directed to return back to the Central Ave halfway house, which you refused. You agreed to return to the New Haven Parole District office. During your conversation with your assigned PO, you refused to go back to the Central Ave halfway house. This is in violation of your statement of understanding and agreement conditions of parole. Specifically, in the event that I am placed in a halfway house, I agreed to go directly to and reside in the facility designated by the Parole and Community Services Division until released by the Parole Community Services Division. In addition, this is in violation of your halfway house agreement. Specifically, I will not leave the physical confines of the halfway house unless authorized by program staff.
The state has also filed the following exhibits, starting with Exhibit A, PO Girard.
Exhibit A, notice of parole violation. Exhibit B, notice of parolee rights. Notice C, Exhibit C, sorry, remand to actual custody order. Exhibit D, PCS signed conditions. Exhibit E, halfway house agreement. Exhibit F, Central Ave halfway house incident report. Exhibit G, offender refusing housing signed agreement. Exhibit H, parole violation report.
I think it's the beard.
Mr. Mundy, did you receive the notice of parole violation report, and the other documents that were just marked for education purposes? You should receive like a parole package or evidence package.
Yes.
Did you receive that? Okay. And did you have time to review it?
Yes.
Today we have no witnesses. And at this time, the state will have an opportunity to make a short statement and testify with respect to probable cause and the severity of the allegations. P.O. Girard?
Yes. So Mr. Mundy, as I read during the charges, walked out of the Central Ave halfway house without authorization. During my communication with him, he was told to go back to the halfway house. And as he was leaving the halfway house, staff walked after him and told him that he was not authorized to leave, and he still chose to leave anyways. And I know that Mr. Mundy was trying to relocate to New Haven because this is where his friends and family are and all his, and his resources. And I believe that he walked out with the intention of turning himself into the New Haven parole office because that was his way of trying to get a placement in a New Haven halfway house. So it appeared that he was trying to manipulate the circumstances to work out more favorable for him so he could wind up in New Haven.
Anything further, PL Girard?
Excuse me?
Anything further?
No.
At this time, it is now your opportunity, Mr. Mundy, to respond to the parole violation charges against you. However, remember that you may remain silent if you choose to do so. Would you like to respond to the charges at this time?
Yes, I would.
Okay, it's your opportunity to.
Okay, I was brought there, I believe, on December 17 to the 24th Central Ave, I believe it is. The female staff, they were very disrespectful. When I was brought there by Miss Bent, she told them to put me on a New Haven halfway house list due to the fact they had no beds available. So they said, yeah, but once she left out the building, they said they do not transfer halfway houses.
Sorry, I just got a notification.
Well, they don't do placements of halfway houses. And I said, well, you should address that when she was here, for she could have voiced that. You know what I mean? But they just continued on. They're very disrespectful. I haven't been in many halfway houses. I'm not a disrespectful person. I'm not going to disrespect someone, so I'm not going to be disrespected. So I got a sinus affection and everything from the halfway house. So I went from there to the hospital, But yeah, I'm never going to disrespect no women. So, but being disrespected by him is rude. I didn't go there to be disrespected. I didn't go to disrespect anyone. So I was removed myself from that situation. Then at the time when I went to the office after I called and said I'm returning myself in, we went to the office and he also told me he's going to put me in a bracelet and put me back in Central. And I said, why would you do that? And I told you they disrespectful. And I left voicemails from his and Ben's phone telling them that they're disrespectful. So it's like, why would you put me back? Well, I'm telling you, it's like put me back in a situation where you can make a situation worse than it is. You understand? So that's why I don't, you know what I mean?
Okay. Anything further?
No.
Okay. P.O. Girard, anything further now that you've heard Mr. Mundy?
No.
And Mr. Mundy, nothing further, correct? Just want to make sure.
Oh, no, I'm okay.
Okay, I'm just going to take a moment. I'm going to take a short recess, actually, before I announce my recommendation, or my findings in my recommendation. Okay, we are now back on the record. Regarding charge 1 residents, I make a finding of probable cause based on state's exhibits B, F, and G, or D, F, and G. On charge 2 halfway house placement, I make a finding of probable cause based on state's exhibits D through G. I find that the acts are serious enough to warrant revocation, and I have also determined that you should be detained while you wait for your revocation hearing. Your revocation hearing will be scheduled within 60 business days from your return to custody. You receive a hearing disposition, which will have a tentative hearing date listed. Keep in mind, all hearing dates are subject to change. At the revocation hearing, a hearing examiner will determine if you violated the conditions of your parole. Okay, Mr. Mundy, this concludes your preliminary hearing. So you're gonna have another hearing scheduled within 60 days from your return to custody. Okay? So that's it. We're all done with your preliminary hearing.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Have a blessed one.
Thank you, P.O. Girard.
Thank you. Good luck, Mr. Mundy.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, okay.
Morning,
Good morning.
Mr. Sanders.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, good morning. My name is Officer Saunders. I'm a hearing examiner for the Board of Pardons and Paroles. This is a revocation hearing concerning Stephen Sanders, 314697. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. This hearing is being conducted via video at the Board of Pardons and Parole Central Office in Hartford Correctional Center. Please state your full name and DOC inmate number for the record.
Stephen Sanders, inmate number 314697.
This is a public hearing. Public access to this hearing is available via video live stream. This is a revocation hearing to determine whether you have violated the conditions of your release. I will review and make findings of fact at each of the charges against you. The state, not you, has the responsibility to prove the allegations by a preponderance of evidence. That is, the better or weightier evidence must establish that more probable than not, the allegation is true. If I do not find that there's a preponderance of evidence to support a violation of one or more of the conditions of your parole, I will reinstate your parole, which means releasing you and placing you back on parole supervision. If I find that you have violated one or more of the conditions of your parole, I will consider whether or not your parole should be revoked. If I recommend revocation, I will make a recommendation as to an appropriate sanction. My recommendation will be given to a panel for a final decision. If the panel wishes to impose a sanction beyond my recommendation, a supplemental hearing will be provided to justify additional confinement. The testimony at today's hearing will be taken under oath. Mr. Sanders, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First, I will read you your rights. Then we will review the parole violation charges that the state your parole officers bring against you. Then I will review and identify exhibits filed for the record. You will have an opportunity to present all relevant testimony. After considering all the evidence presented, I will announce my findings. If I find that you have violated one or more of the conditions of your parole, you will have an opportunity to speak to your background and history. Do you have any questions about the purpose or procedure before we begin?
No, ma'am.
You have
No.
important rights. You have important rights at this hearing, which I now will review with you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney at this hearing. If you cannot afford an attorney, you may qualify for an appointed attorney to represent you. Do you intend to seek counsel for this hearing, or would you like to proceed without counsel?
I would like to proceed without it.
You have the right to receive written notice of charges of violation. You have the right to review the evidence against you before this hearing. You have the right to submit evidence in support of your case. At this hearing, you have the right to call and examine voluntary witnesses and to cross-examine adverse witnesses. Do you understand these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
We now will review the charges that the state, your parole officer, is bringing against you and the information underlying each charge. Charge 1, absconder. On September 8th, 2024, you left the Isaiah halfway house on a work pass and never returned. You had no further contact with Isaiah's staff or this officer. You left your only parole-approved address without program completion or permission, became unaccountable in the community. Subsequently, your whereabouts in the community are unknown. Charge 2, halfway house placement. On September 8th, 2024, you left your only parole-approved residence, the Isaiah halfway house, on a work pass and didn't return. You failed to contact your parole officer or halfway house staff, and you failed to return to the program. Your whereabouts are unknown at this time. The state has filed the following exhibits. Exhibit A, remand to actual custody order. Exhibit B, parole violation report. Exhibit C, notice of parole violation. Exhibit D, notice of parolee rights. Exhibit E, signed PCS conditions. Exhibit F, signed halfway house agreement. And Exhibit G, Isaiah halfway house incident report. Mr. Sanders, did you receive the notice of parole violation, the parole violation report, and the other documents that I just marked for identification purposes? It was like an evidence packet you should have received.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I
and did you have time to review it?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Today we have no witnesses, and it is now your opportunity to respond to the parole violation charges against you. However, remember that you may remain silent if you choose to do so. Do you wish to testify regarding the charges?
Yes. I just like to state that I am guilty of absconding. But I left because there was an issue in the halfway house where people were getting high, and I was actually being sober this time, and they were doing drugs in the room. And when I woke up, I was just tired of telling somebody something about it and nobody doing nothing about it. So instead of me relapsing and sticking a needle in my arm or whatever the case may be, I ended up going to work and not returning back to the halfway house. I have a history of making impulsive decisions, which is something that I'm trying to work on along with my mental health. But I really don't have much to say, but that was the situation. And I feel that I should have called Officer Elder and let him know. But again, me dealing with my mental health and stuff like that and fighting, not wanting to go back and dealing with that, and then wanting to be with my family, because I was literally out the door finishing the halfway house. I paid $250 to rent a room for Fred Hodges in Bridgeport. And like I said, I made an impulsive decision when I really could have just waited. But I don't know. I have an issue of acting impulsively, and that's something I'm trying to work on. But I haven't caught any new cases. I don't get involved with the police. I was still working. I wasn't working at the place that I was working at, but when I went home to my family, I got a job and I was working at Wingstop. So like it wasn't, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not trying to justify or minimize what I did. What I did was wrong. I know that. I have to stop acting impulsively, but I don't know what else to say or how else to explain it, that I felt like my life was in danger. According to drug-wise, not that somebody was going to harm me or anything, but I'm waking up in a room with people getting high and I'm trying to be sober. And I don't know. I have no write-ups in the halfway house. The other halfway houses, last time they gave me 8 months because I had a lot of write-ups. I'm not going to lie, I was being disrespectful to staff. I don't know if it was because I wasn't on my medication or what it was, but I was just acting out of pocket, actually. You know, like I was just acting out. Like, I don't know why. And it's just, I want to be with my family. Like my family wants to sponsor me, but I don't know. Last time they said my wife couldn't sponsor me because of the address that we moved to. So I don't understand that. But my stepdaughter and my son-in-law and my wife's grandson is willing to sponsor me if that's possible, because I don't want to keep going back to a halfway house, repeating the same thing over and over again. Like I have a really good support system at home. And every time I leave a halfway house, that's where they come and get me. I'm at home. I'm not running the streets. I'm not committing crimes, and I know I'm not supposed to do that. And there's a way to do it, but I just want to be home with my family, man. That's all I want. And I have nothing else to say, so I'm sorry.
Anything else before I announce my findings?
No, man. I have nothing. I don't know what else to say.
Okay.
I really don't.
So
I'm sorry for what I
charge
do. I mean, that's about it. Sorry, I don't mean to keep leaving the halfway houses and stuff like that, especially when I was right out the door. So it doesn't make sense to me. But now that I think about it, it's stupid. But I can't change what I did, you know?
For charge 1, absconder, I make a finding based on your testimony today, as well as states exhibits B, E, and G. On charge 2, halfway house placement, excuse me, I make a finding based off of your testimony today, as well as states exhibits B, E, F, and G. That concludes the fact-finding portion of this hearing. Before I make my recommendation, you will now have an opportunity to speak to your background and history. I hear that you have a lot of family support. It sounds like you don't want to go back to the halfway house, but what is your release plan upon parole reinstatement?
Well, to be honest with you, I have, there's a place in New Haven, the Gateway Community College, that before I was left the halfway house over there, I was looking into the DART program. It's a drug and alcohol recovery counselor. It's just, you know, I'm a cook by trade, but I was trying to figure out something to do that would be more helpful towards me, I think. And I think me being sober, and actually, to me, that's a big thing because I'm an addict, you know what I mean? And every time I was released, as you could probably see in my files, it's always I'm relapsing, getting high. And it's just that I don't want to do that anymore. So that's why I had them transfer me to Bridgeport, you know, and I was always at work, which was cool. But when I come back, you know, people are doing things that they're doing, and I can't tell another man how to live or how to move, you know, and it's not that I can go to staff and be like, oh, they're getting high in the room, because then that puts me in a position. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do I do? So I constantly kept myself working. But then I figured if I can stay sober, then, you know, anybody could do it. So my future plan right there is upon release is to try to sign up for Gateway Community College. Also, I used to do a lot of sales. So I was thinking about getting into real estate. They have a 90-day program there too at Gateway Community College. So I'm trying to do something positive, something that support my future. I'm tired of cooking. I've been doing it. I love it. I love it to death. I love it to death. I've been doing it for almost 20 years now, and it's just I'm getting older, man. That running back and forth and standing on my feet. I'm diabetic, so I can't be standing for 10, 13 hours like I used to, you know. So it's. But I do love it. Me and my son-in-law were also talking about a hot dog cart. I want a food truck, but I said we will start small. You know what I'm saying? We'll start something small, see how it goes. And, you know, we've been talking about that. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm just really hoping to be back with my family. Like, my family misses me. I miss my family, and I keep trying to do the right thing, but it's like, I just keep making bad choices, like bad decisions. And I mean, like I said, I'm not justifying or anything, but I'm not out there getting arrested, man. I'm not, you know, breaking the law. I don't have time for stuff like that. Like, you know, I don't want to be involved with police. I don't want to be involved committing crimes. I mean, the crime that I commit already for robbery first, that's something that I have to live with every day. That's another thing that bothers me, because that person in the store, that was somebody's mother, somebody's sister, somebody's daughter. Even though I didn't touch her or harm her, the point of the fear that I must have put in that person alone, it drives me insane. That's something that I think about every day. I can't change that. So how can I better myself? But I can't better myself. I'm sorry, but I feel like
no, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I'm sorry. I just feel like I can't better myself being in a place where people are getting high 24/7, dude, and then staff know about it. You know what I mean? And it's like, I keep saying I'm special parole, and then they're like, well, parole's parole. Yeah, I understand that, dude, but I don't feel like I'm supposed to be in a halfway house. You know what I mean? Like, that's just me. And I don't understand why I can't be with my family. I have a robbery charge. I don't have domestics or any type of anything with my family. So I don't understand why they won't let me go home. I don't know how to explain it. It hurts.
So you're saying you don't want to go back to a halfway house. So who would be your sponsor? Would be your plan to go to a sponsor's home, residence?
Yeah.
Who would be your sponsor?
See, either my son-in-law or my stepdaughter.
Who?
Or
I need their name. I would need their name, their number, and their address.
Okay. The name is Felix Cruz.
And what's his phone number?
860-853-7665.
Okay, and his address.
68 John Street, New Britain, Connecticut.
So that would be your sponsor.
Yeah.
And you said you plan on going to the DART program for.
Yes.
Okay. And then it sounds
Yes.
like you're going to do some college courses at Gateway for real estate.
Yeah.
Okay. And
That's
what
my
about employment?
plan.
And what about employment?
I'll probably go back to Wingstop or Dave & Buster's or something. I cook, so employment-wise, that's what I'm going to fall back on until I can finish school. If Wingstop would take me back, which I don't see why not. I didn't have any issues. I didn't, you know what I'm saying, except for the fact that I got remanded. So I don't see that as an issue. But finding work for me is not a hard thing to do because I have a trade as cooking, and they're always looking for cooks somewhere.
So let me make sure I have your. I just want to make sure I have your release plan correct. You would sponsor to your son-in-law in New Britain, and then plan on going to the DART program for your sobriety.
Yes.
And then you would do some college courses for real estate. And you have potential opportunities at Wingstop and or Dave & Buster's.
Yeah. Yes, that is true. Yeah.
Anything else?
So I have a
regarding.
You could put my stepdaughter down too, Nelsie Cruz. That's her husband. They're married. They live together. Same address.
Okay. And what's her phone number?
860-348-7384.
Okay, and same address. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And if those people, I mean, I don't see why it would be an issue, but if it is an issue, my wife's grandson was asking if he could sponsor me, but he's in another state. So I don't know how that would work.
So that would be an interstate, but what we could do is, so this is your initial release plan. We'll go with this plan, and if that's denied, then you can talk to your parole officer about a transfer to interstate. But that's if they're denied.
Yeah. One other question: if they do get denied, for whatever reason it is, which I hope to God not, but can you guys see if you could send me to like the Sierra House or something in New Haven, because that's kind of next to the college.
I'll also put that as a plan as well. So I'll put your stepdaughter and her husband as number one. I will put in there that you do have a family member out of state. That's a potential, and then also the Sierra House is a request in New Haven for a halfway house.
Yeah, I really don't want to go to the halfway house, but if whatever reason, God's the best of planners, so if that's where He wants to put me, then I'll be there. But I figure that's close to the college, so I don't know. We'll see.
Anything else before I make my recommendation?
No.
Okay. So, Mr. Saunders, give me a few moments. I'm going to take a short recess before I announce my recommendation, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you're doing good.
Won't be on your end. There.
I think something was happening. Pick them now, huh?
Mr. Sanders, being that this is your fourth violation for this pretty much the same behaviors, you received 3 PCS misconducts for ongoing substance abuse. You absconded from the halfway house and your whereabouts were unknown for 3 months. With that all taken into consideration, I recommend revoke and reparole on December 18th, 2025, which is an approximate 1-year sanction with the following conditions. No consumption of alcohol, general no contact with Subway located at 467 Franklin Avenue in Hartford, Connecticut, halfway house placement and mental health treatment. My findings and recommendations will be forwarded to the board. You will receive the official written decision from the board, and your board review is scheduled on January 30th, 2025. Now, that's my recommendation, but the board can lessen that recommendation. They can keep that recommendation, or they can exceed that recommendation, being that you're on supervision until February 2029. Okay, so on January 30th, within that week, you'll receive something in writing giving you the official decision. Okay, so this does conclude the revocation hearing. Okay,
All right,
you're all
thank
set.
you.
Thank you.
All right, have a nice day.
You as well.
I mean, the lobby's busy. Oh, yeah.
Who's low?